We know that there's a myth about the greenhouse project, that if it's much better, it has to cost more. We now know that there's a really strong business case for the greenhouse project. You can increase your revenues, you can keep your costs the same, and you can capture your market. In the video today, we want you to hear not only what we know from the data, but we also want you to hear from many of the people who are providing greenhouse services and what their experience has been.
Having the greenhouse homes at Green Hill absolutely makes sense from a business perspective. Differentiates us a lot from other communities. For the obvious reasons, I'm serving elders in a home as opposed to an institution.
Our organization decided to build greenhouse homes because it was the care model that we were looking for.
Individuals are going to be looking for a totally different level and model of care, and I feel very strongly that the Greenhouse Project meets that demand.
I've had a lot of people tell me it just can't be done. Well, I'm here to tell you it can be done.
It is a world of educated consumers in the area where our greenhouse happens to be, and people are very willing to pay 10% more to live in a greenhouse model versus a traditional model of care.
Since the greenhouse homes opened, in comparison to prior years, my admissions have gone up 30%.
The greenhouse homes have impacted our revenue. Unquestionably, our private pay census has gone up. Our Medicare census has gone up. And our overall census has gone up. It has a halo effect upon every revenue stream that you might experience in long-term care. Seeing is believing, and when folks come and evaluate the alternatives and consider that what you have with the greenhouse model is a clear differentiation. It does offer a competitive advantage.
People will come from all over to be here at the greenhouse. Once they understand what the concept is, they will travel from near and far to come here.
People are very diligent in their choices when they pick a nursing setting for their loved ones. Very diligent. The baby boomers, they're out there looking and they check everything.
Word of mouth is one of the best ways that you'll get referrals, believe me. We often get phone calls in our admissions office where people will say, my friend rehabbed at your facility. The greenhouse model was the perfect model for them. I know it will be for me.
I had one elder who actually had made a decision before she came to Green Hill, and she said, you know what, I'll just come because I have the appointment. As soon as she walked into the greenhouse home, she said, I had made my decision, but I'm changing it. My mom is coming here. I want my mom to be at home. I don't want her to have to live in an institution.
The myth about the Greenhouse Project is that if it's that much better, it has to cost more. And we now know from the many organizations operating across the country that it doesn't cost more. It will work equally well in a for-profit or a nonprofit environment. And you can have better quality of care, you can have much higher satisfaction, and still have operations that cost no more than a traditional nursing home.
I think the biggest misperception is that it doesn't work. You can't make it work. It costs too much money to build, or the operating costs are too much, or the decentralization of it makes it too difficult to manage. False, false, false. I can't disagree more.
Because there are certain departments that are eliminated, because there are certain infrastructures that are utilized differently, the operating costs of the greenhouses are very similar to traditional nursing homes.
Overall, I expect my expenses in a greenhouse home to either be less or the same than in my legacy building.
Our operating costs ended up being very, very similar to our projections, and so we're very pleased with that.
The greenhouse model requires much more direct care time in the homes, and that's how we get better care outcomes, better satisfaction. We match the increases in the care time in the homes with reductions in the departmental structure. Non-staff costs in the greenhouse homes, costs like food, supplies, and other non-labor expenses, are also no more expensive in the greenhouse home than in traditional nursing homes.
You're dropping costs in one area and increasing costs where it should be. So you increase the direct care staff, you're increasing your quality. and you increase your quality, you're going to increase your census. It's a no-brainer.
One of the important aspects of implementing any new model, including the greenhouse model, is how do you finance that? Greenhouse homes have been very successful in obtaining all of the standard forms of financing in long-term care, as well as a number of creative forms of financing and financial structuring.
For us, it was a very manageable process. We built our cottages for about $1 million a cottage, all in, inclusive of everything. And what we found was we just refined the building process. We didn't have extra funds. I mean, we had to do it within a reasonable budget, and we had to have reasonable debt service, and we were able to accomplish that.
We financed the building of the greenhouse homes utilizing our current building as collateral, and we got 100% backing from the bank.
For me, it's not about the operating cost because, like I said, the margins far outweigh the increase in cost. It's about the debt service. Is it something that you think brings value to your long-term success or not? And as you amortize that debt service over the next 30 years, is a traditional model going to bring you the best return on your investment? Or is it more progressive, non-traditional model that is representative of the future of long-term care?
The bankers were thankful that they got to finance a project that hits their heart and fits in the wallet.
I think the wonderful thing about the size of the greenhouse home, 10 individuals there, you can be flexible. You could make adjustments and make changes as necessary. You know, we decided on one more rehab home. If down the line things changed and we decided we wanted a specialty home for people living with another chronic illness, we could make that change very easily because we're working with an environment of just 10 individuals, not 20 or 40, as you might see in a typical skilled nursing facility.
So being able to have incremental changes in the number of houses committed to long-term care and subacute care is a really important flexibility in your business plan.
I think there's a lot of flexibility. You can specialize these houses in a lot of ways to suit the needs of your community.
We found that even with a high Medicaid payer mix, we can be successful with 60 to 80% of our elders here being on Medicaid.
We have about 13% Medicare, about 30% Medicaid, and the rest is private pay.
We decided that the mix that would be comfortable for us is about a 20% private pay mix. The other population would be Medicare and Medicaid. The beauty of the model is that should we ever need to, we could easily increase that private pay mix because obviously when individuals are applying for nursing home care, they would always choose a greenhouse setting rather than a traditional setting with 2 or 3 people in a room.
The greenhouse model was specifically designed to operate within existing regulatory and reimbursement structures. So we've been very careful to design each component of the model to be fully compliant with state, federal, and local requirements.
The state of Massachusetts has been very excited about culture change, and we're extremely excited that they would have a greenhouse.
New Jersey State people were wonderful with me. They were so supportive.
We've been very fortunate in Arkansas to have a state survey group and leadership within the Office of Long-Term Care that believes in progressive models.
Green Hill's first survey as greenhouse homes, we did absolutely wonderful. We had no problems at all.
Our survey results have been outstanding. We're a 5-star facility and have had some of the best survey results that one could have in the state of Arkansas.
We often hear people ask, why should they join the Greenhouse Project rather than just doing this themselves? We think that it's important for a model this new and this transformative that people have all of the services and supports they need at each stage.
Being a part of the Greenhouse Home Project is kind of like being the part of a family. You get to know them very well. They're always there for you.
From the very, very beginning, They were with us every step of the way, and the level of technical, emotional support that we received and the guidance from the Greenhouse Project has been wonderful, and has been a major part of the success of the Leonard Florence Center.
Their support and their training and all the professionals they have on staff that help you to take it from the first stage of concept to full implementation and holding your hand through that entire process was just frankly what we were looking for.
There was never a point where I didn't get an answer to a question I had, or that I was directed to someone who could answer a question.
We felt like partnering with the Greenhouse Project gave us the best opportunity for success. For us, the greenhouse model was the best option. We felt like it represented the gold standard.
This is what my community is expecting now.
We have the research, we have the evidence, we have the data that this is not only a choice that you make because you want to improve quality of care and quality of life, but also because you need to have a strong bottom line.
We are in our second year of operation, and it is working beautifully for us. Our only regret is that we did not have this model available to us 35 years ago.
I would do it again and again and again throughout the state until everybody had a greenhouse home. Absolutely. The faces of the elders, it says it all.